Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and today we have just a neat little video. It's actually kind of like I guess what not to do to your own vehicle. It's a pretty common issue. It's pretty common that people will do this to their vehicles, and sometimes it causes an issue. So this is a family member's car of mine. They're actually here at my place, so I'll show you a little bit of maybe like a project car that I have in the background that'll be up on the channel soon. And oh, this video, I guess it's not sponsored, so I'm not being paid to talk about this, but this company, _Bolster, sent me some of these mats. I've been trying out super cool little mats, bolt organizers. They're silicone pads. And so I'll give you a show what this is like real quick. We'll get to this car. So the car this is a key, and it's a common problem. It has a valve on top of the gas tank that if you top your gas tank off after it stops filling up, like people will do at the gas station, it'll click, it'll stop, and then people will go and, you know, fill it the rest of the way up. If you do that, it'll flood out the charcoal canister and mess up one of these valves. And sometimes they just mess up by themselves, but it's a vent valve on top of the gas tank, and so it needs to be replaced. The charcoal canister typically needs to be replaced as well. It's a vendor only part out here, so I couldn't get it at AutoZone. So I don't have it now. So we're just going to do the valves today and see if that takes care of it. If some evap codes or anything come up, then we'll worry about that charcoal canister later. So I don't, again, I just don't have the charcoal canister, but here's this bolster. I'll show you how it works real quick. And we'll be using it on this episode. And actually a pretty cool little thing. It's not the same as some of the other silicone mats that just have, you know, slots in them where you can set your tools. This one, if we grab like a handful of random bolts here, something's sharp in there. What was that? Poked me. Anyway, so like you're taking something out, and like people poke things in cardboard to keep them organized. This little tool here, you can just, you know, keep your bolts organized by sticking them in here. So if you're doing like a water pump or whatever, you have 5, 6, 7 bolts. They fit bolts all the way down to 6 millimeters. So this is like an 8 millimeter. That'll fit. And you can stick all the way up to a 7/8, which I have something probably about that size, like this. This may be bigger than a 7/8. No, that's probably a little bit smaller. Okay, let's just imagine. This is almost 7/8. You can stick these bad boys in here without causing any harm. There you go. So there it is, holding on to that big old bolt. Again, probably not super practical, and unless you're like in like big diesel equipment or something, you're not really gonna have to organize bolts that big. I'll pull it out here, but it's a good illustrating fact that it doesn't cause any harm to this silicone mat. They're really resilient. I like them. It's pretty cool. I've used it just a couple of times, so I'm just using it. That may be getting long. We'll get to the car, but basically I'll put a link in the description down below. It's Road 10 or Roadside 10. Roadside 10, I believe. I'll put it in the description. And the link to these on their website and on Amazon. Basically, if you buy it, then I get 10% of the sales to the channel. So if you want to help support the channel, you can buy one of those. They're also really cool. So kind of like those dash cams. I'm not really going to do a lot of products and stuff, but some things that, you know, actually really go hand in hand with my channel. This is a startup company. It's pretty small. I don't know if it's startup, but it's a smaller company. So I'm excited to work with them. So we'll get to that car. Check the description down below for that link and code. And that's the bolster. We'll be using it on this project, and probably a lot more to come. So here we go. Without further ado, we'll start dropping this fuel tank, which you can see the car here. And the project's just behind that wall. I'll show you in a minute, but we'll drop that tank and get to those valves. All right, here we are, Roadside Rescue crew. Here's the vehicle in question. We'll be dropping the tank. We've got it up on some ramps here. There we go. And I'm going to put some jack stands under it as well. The gas tank's under halfway full. I always tell the customer to try and keep it as empty as possible if we're going to drop it, but it was already full when I told him that. So it's under halfway full. Shouldn't take too terribly long. We'll get going at it. So we've usually got to remove the fill neck and the straps holding the tank on, usually maybe a belly pin or something. So a few things, and it'll be coming out hopefully not too long. All right, here we are. We've got our tools set up, and the gas tank runs underneath this exhaust here. So I'm gonna undo the 4 hangers here in the back and unbolt the exhaust right here, 2 bolts. We've got them soaking in WD-40 so they don't break those studs or strip out or give us the least likely chance of that happening. It should be just a couple of minutes to get this exhaust out of the way. Then we have 2 straps holding the tank in here, This might be a little upside down for you. I'm upside down, so it's hard to tell. And once we get these two straps undone, we're going to put a jack under here, slowly lower it down and reach that fuel neck, unhook that fuel neck, and then we'll probably be able to drop it all the way down without undoing the lines, but we'll see. So we'll get this exhaust out first and then check back. All right, so these hangers in the back here, we've got these front ones, or these middle ones I guess, undone. The front bolts undone. We didn't strip anything out. They came out nice and easy, so that's good. And these ones are held in by a bolt at the top, so I'm gonna undo the bolt rather than fight with getting these hangers off since they're really wide. So just like this, a couple more minutes, we're done. It's been about 5 minutes. All right, so here's the exhaust pipe. Here's those bolts on top we just undid to get these hangers out nice and easy. On one side, I just held it up with my foot down there while I undid the other side. So that was just the easiest, quickest way to do it. It's been just a few minutes, and we'll slide this out carefully. And that fuel tank's right up there, and we'll just get the straps done and get that lowering down. All right, so I've got those bolts broken loose. I'll get them finished getting all the way loose here in a minute when I get my jack under here to support the gas tank. I'm gonna take these filler neck hoses off. This one's got a clamp here, so I'll be using my favorite pliers. This one here, but when you take these off, just remember the position they were on and the witness marks, which in other words is just like exactly where these line up. You can see the marks where they used to be. Especially on fuel lines and filler necks, you always want to match those witness marks back up. If you don't, they can generate evaporative leaks, and everybody knows evap leaks are the worst thing to have to track down on a vehicle. So just pay close attention to these when you take them off. There's some wind in the mic. I've got this fan on me because it's nice and hot today. It's been hot for the past couple weeks. There was this fuel line here, typical little fuel line style connector. This one had a push button release. There's that line we got off, and now this filler neck, I just gently grabbed it with some pliers. You want to kind of just wiggle around slowly until it breaks loose, and it just broke loose. So we'll go ahead and pull that off, and then get a jack under here and lower this fuel tank down. All right, so there is a little access door back here behind the seat. It is for the fuel pump. So I had to drop the tank down a little bit, but rather than taking those straps all the way off, because they're a little tricky, I haven't played with them yet, but I thought if I drop this down enough, maybe I could reach that valve there, and it's actually right here where this whole wire right there connects to. So I'm gonna attempt to just undo it from up here to prohibit from having to drop that tank out completely. And I think I can do it. If it just is a little tricky putting those hose clamps on and stuff, then I'll just drop the tank. But I think it's probably simple enough to do through this little access hole. So I'll give this a try and let you know how it goes. All right, here's the old part next to the new part. It was actually easier to just get through this gap here. You can see the hose it was connected to is this one right here, and it sits right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back in. That hole was nice to open up because, as you can see, it offered some great lighting, but probably just a little happy coincidence with the angle of the sun. But it was nice to be able to see perfectly up there. So you could probably do it from the top too, but this was honestly even easier. When I leaned up over that hole, I realized I could have plenty of room reaching my arm up here. So we'll put that back in. I'll clamp this right here and show you how it goes. All right, that's in place. You can see it. And now I've just got to snap it in. Like that. I've got the other hose for it here. I did lightly coat these in WD-40. We've got to do the straps. And we're just lining up all these hose clamps. And their witness marks is the last one here. And then we'll be tightening stuff back down and getting the exhaust back in here. So probably another 10-15 minutes and we'll be done. And this is when you know you're on the home stretch. And you turn your ratchet on. All right, here we are, tank's back up, tightened down. There's just the two straps holding it. There was no belly pan, so all we've got to do is put the exhaust back in. That should just be about 2 minutes, since these are gonna go on quite a bit easier. Give them just a douse of WD-40 on these hanger. And then those two bolts up there, so we'll be done here in just a minute. All right, so exhaust is back in. That was like just a minute. It was really fast. Hanger's all good, lubed up, and that's it. This is a job well done. This is the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. All right, guys, it's a different day, but here's that project that I didn't mention in the other day in the video. If you can see here, this is an '88 Jeep Wagoneer. This appeared on a video like a year ago, way back in the depths of the YouTube channel. But this thing is in super good condition. All the leather's here, none of it's cracked. The carpets are all nice. It's got like 100,000 miles on it. Yep, everything's here, nothing's cracked. Missing a few little panels and pieces. But this I got in a trade about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and I had got another vehicle off of Facebook Marketplace that wasn't running for 300 bucks. I got it running and I traded it for this. So I basically just put a battery in it and a little bit of labor and intake manifold. Actually, the intake manifold, it was all busted up. So this is going to be the little project that I have coming up here. It's got the big old V8 in it, carbureted. Needs a few things like some fuel lines, fuel filler neck, heater hoses, and that's about it. It's pretty much ready to run. It's a trusty old V8. I mean, not the longest running engine in the world. The original one blew up in this Jeep from the kid I got it from. His aunt was the original owner. And as you can see, it was kept in super good shape. So this is the project. Well, let's pop the hood and look. Here we have it, that old V8. Some stuff needs to be put back together. I'm gonna get a new carburetor because I don't know much about them, and I don't want to like rebuild this one, and it's missing a few things. Some guys on here will probably tell me that it's super simple, but I think regardless, I'm just gonna get a new one. And there's a few things that are just out of place, like some lines and stuff. But hopefully soon we'll be working on this and getting it running. That's the project coming up that you have to look forward to. So there you go.